everybody, how you doing? So it's week 3 of our beautiful life design course. Otto's here. Say hi, Otto. Hello. And this week the theme of the week 3 is, what is success anyway? So I wanted us to take a bit of a more wholesome approach to the idea of success. And to do that, it's good to look at what we usually think as success. Otto, no. So society kinds of say that success is based on 2 things, doesn't it? It's based on your financial world and your career. So if you are, earning good money and you have a good career, people will say, oh, they've made it, and they would classify you as successful. However, I heard a statistic the other day when I was watching my evening Dharma talks with a Swami in America, and he said that one of the most popular occupations in America is to be a lawyer. And among other reasons, two of the reasons for that would be because it pays very well. And, it would tick the box of being a prestigious, well-regarded career path, wouldn't it? But the statistic that went along with that was quite worrying, and it said that all lawyers throughout their career, 50% of all lawyers will suffer from depression. So that's a big deal. That's 1 in 2, that's half. So it's like, okay, so to tick the box of socially accepted success, does it have to be accompanied with, is the price at the expense of our mental health, our emotional health, our physical health? And if it is, how can we make sure that we don't sign up for that? How can we make sure that we raise our consciousness enough so that we are more than that, and we're not just working ourselves into a black hole in the name of socially accepted success. But you're on this course, so you already know that success is dependent on so many other things, because you will already have a certain level of awareness. Rue trained as a lawyer at university in Madrid, and I think he practiced law for maybe 1 year, and then he just ran. He was like, I took one look at my colleagues, most of whom were sleeping under the desks at night. They never went out for a lunch break. They never went out to the gym, or, they were just so unhealthy. They were working crazy hours, not going home to their families, eating whatever they could, and Rue just thought, I can see myself staying here and, prematurely aging, missing out on the joys of life. So he left after a year anyway, and he took his own path, which I always thought was quite admirable, because, he forsook, if you like, that massive paycheck for a more a more humble approach, like having to do it himself, like find his own way, go this business, this works, this doesn't work. And he's more happier doing that. Anyway, so the things that I think we can base success on, I would recommend getting a pen and paper and writing these down, and then you can just give yourself time to contemplate, or maybe a score. So what is success anyway? So number 1, and they're in no specific order, is health and fitness. Just have a little think about that. Health is true wealth. You only have to have a day or so without your health, and you realize that without health, it doesn't matter how much money you've got in the world or what job you've got in the world, health is true wealth. So do you have time for it? Do you prioritize it? Do you like it? Have you found that thing that makes you feel good? And, true wellness in terms of what exercise to choose is one that leaves you feeling refreshed and not depleted. And we also know that when it comes to diet, that's more important than the actual exercise. So the diet comes first, then the exercise is like a cherry on the top. So just have a little think about that. And then number 2 would be intellectual life. Do you have any time for an intellectual life? So classic example, mum at home with the kids, doesn't speak to another adult for 12 hours or whatever, and starts feeling like her brain's like a mashed banana or potato or whatever. And you know, they just crave adult conversation, sitting over dinner and talking with their partner or their friend, or on the phone to a friend, or reading a novel, or watching a really good film, going to the theatre, going to the art gallery, something like that. It does make a difference. Even if, you know, for me, for example, I think the last time I had one of those adult conversations was maybe 3 months ago, you know, full on deep adult conversation, because, you know, you're just working and you've got kids and time is precious. But I can just remember when it was happening, thinking, oh, this is so nice. And you know, they do keep you going for a good few months. You know, I'll need to schedule one in again in a few weeks, definitely. In fact, I've got a meal tomorrow with 4 lovely ladies, so that should do the trick. Anyway, the next one is emotional life. Are you able to honour your emotions? Are you able to let them flow? Are you able to express them? So you don't sweep everything under the carpet, you don't store it all away, which is essentially really dangerous. Like, if your emotions come and you don't deal with them, well, where are they going to go? They get stuck in the body and they turn to disease. And that is well documented in both holistic and scientific research. So can you deal with your emotions? Do you let them flow? Do you have someone to talk to? Can you intelligently stabilize your emotions? So, you know, you're not always like down, up, down, up. Although I think, you know, as women, we have to have a little bit of leeway with that when it comes to maybe our hormones. But the idea is we want to just be like a fun wave and not a tsunami, if you like. Next one, so that was emotional life, your character. Are you able to be authentically yourself? So, you know, we all have our own personality. We've all been in a situation where we felt we either had to add something to our personality or take something away just to fit in. And in the moment when you did that, because we all have, you knew that if you had to do this for a long period of time, it would kill your soul. Yeah, so are you able to be yourself, your authentic self? Are you surrounded by people who appreciate your authentic self? And if you are, good. And if you're not, maybe look for people that do. Next one, what was the next one I wanted to say? So you know, then you would have, how are your finances? Like, are you able to call in abundance as and when you need it? Maybe if you are a stay-at-home mum, you know, maybe that comes from your partner, or maybe that comes from help, whatever. You know, it comes in many different ways. It doesn't have to be like you working a million hours in an office, but maybe you are, maybe you're a super powerhouse. But, you know, abundance is something that we definitely should love and definitely realize that is our natural state, and definitely call it in from the part of us that is abundance. And we can do more work on that. If you fancy an abundance course, you can tell me, because I've done lots of work on abundance. And abundance, of course, isn't just money. It's all lots of different things. So your finances, your career, are you doing something that you would say is fulfilling and gives you purpose? And I was talking to a friend the other day, and, you know, she's doing something at the moment, just started a new business. And of course, in the beginning, you don't make much money. And her husband was saying to her, well, how much are you getting paid? What are you doing? Etc. And she was like, well, it isn't giving me the money, but it's giving me confidence, self-esteem, social life. It's giving me drive. It's making me wake up in the morning with a spring in my step. So, those things obviously are more important because they, you know, give you, your soul, a song to sing, if you like. The next one is social life. Do you have a social life? That is definitely one to pay attention to. So say if you're working 5 days a week or with the kids 5 days a week, could you find like a few hours at the weekend or whenever, just for a bit of time with a friend or your partner, or, you know, just some social life for you. Next one, spiritual life. This is obviously a big one for me, and I have to say, I remember speaking to my mum about her most favourite person in the whole world, which was her grandma. And her grandma, you know, was an Irish lady. She had about 11 kids, no joke. I think there were 11 kids. I have no idea how many grandkids. Millions. Not millions, but a lot. And, you know, she lived well into her 90s, and she died one day peacefully in her sleep, you know. So she definitely had a very, well, definitely a fulfilling and happy life. And Mum said that she was always just really stable and happy. And I said, okay, Mum, what do you think her secret was? And my mum didn't even have to think about it. She just said her faith. You know, her faith that you come from love, you return to love, and you're living your life in devotion to that source of love that created you, that there is something bigger than you, that there always is something guiding you, that you are part of something meaningful, and that can really sustain you. And I know in my own personal experience, especially when I feel down, which I, you know, like we all do, we have moments where we feel down. You know, I just think, God, what would I do without my faith in that, the light, if you like? Because when I feel down, it doesn't take me long to flip the switch if I listen to some devotional music, or I meditate, or I pray, or I chant. And it really does help. So do you have a spiritual life? And again, spiritual life is completely different to religion. If you have a religion, great, but if you don't, you can still have a spiritual life. Was there anything else? So I did social life, spiritual life. So yeah, just take a look at all those categories that I've told you, and I think that helps you to realize, like, okay, so can I say that I'm seeking success in a wholeheartedly, ticking every category, paying attention to every part of my needs, every part of my soul, not just focusing on money and career, but focusing on, oh, there was another category, love and relationships. Otto, get down, please. So your relationships are such a big one. In India, the lineage that I'm part of, the Krishnamacharya lineage, there's a big old question like, how do you choose a teacher? And they say very simply, you choose a teacher by looking at their relationships. So meaning, if you are someone who is doing your inner work, working on yourself, being the best version of you, you will ultimately have better, more fulfilling and compassionate relationships, because, well, just because you'll know how to be compassionate and empathetic and patient and accept people for who they are, and rather than just like being angry and reactive all the time. So relationships is a big one, and love is a big one. Just the more, the idea being, the more love we can invite into our life, whether that's with a dog, a child, faith, partner, friends, walks in nature, the higher it raises our vibration and our consciousness, and that ultimately kind of puts like a luminescent sheen over our life and gives us a gleam and a radiance. So take a look at all those categories, have a little think about it, and then the practice is to make a vision board. So that's the really fun bit, isn't it? So you get to like think what it is you want to call into your life in all categories, and then collect pictures and make this vision board, and it helps to keep you on track, my recommendation is, before you do the vision board, to do the meditation that was given to you in week 1. And if you like Vinyasa Yoga, I have a class which is called Warrior of Light Vinyasa Level 2-3 for deep inner listening. So it's like a class designed just to totally get you out your mind, into your body, onto your breath. It's continuous flow, and it connects you with your soul, your light. And then from this place, you can really ask yourself what it is you want to put on your vision board. So it doesn't come from a place of materialism, it comes from a place of truth. Anyway, so that's this week. I hope this is going well, and maybe it's giving you little snippets of inspiration, little snippets of wisdom. This is a path that I've been treading for quite a few years now, and all these little things really do help. So that's it. That's it from me. That's it from Otto. And we'll see you next week for the last week. Okay, bye.